Vijay here, our bi-weekly YouTube live. So today I'm joined by Gordon as usual, and we have Victor with us today.
Hello.
Victor, you are new to the world of 21D, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
When did you join us?
So I joined you just a little bit more than a month ago.
More than a month ago. Do you wish you hadn't?
I wish I hadn't. I wish I did it before.
Why is that?
It's such a different
I'm a
world.
horrible guy to work with.
No, absolutely not. It depends on what you work on, you know. You're a very passionate person, and this is a completely different dentistry than everything I've seen before. So
Why?
It's difficult to explain to someone, as someone who's been here for a month, and I've been through this change, it would be difficult to explain to someone who's not here, because it's completely different, and it's just a more, it's a system that makes sense. So for
What, you
many,
mean logic?
yes, there's logic here.
Science is logic.
You know, dentistry is supposed to be science and logic and precision and everything, but once you get here, you realize that most of what I learned, it wasn't about that.
It was opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hate opinions.
And approximation, a little bit.
Yeah. My issue has always been the same, right? Can we do better? Which is why I'm permanently looking for every 0.1% advantage I can get, because I know that it might not sound like a lot, but for the person on the receiving end, it makes a huge difference. You get to work with me.
Yes.
What's it like working with a nerd like me all the time? He
It's
just wants the data. Oh, give me the bloody data.
It's brilliant, exciting, makes a huge difference.
But surely it must do your nut when I start going off on one, going, give me the damn data. Give me the data. Stop giving me your opinion. Give me the facts.
Yeah, facts, data, numbers. That's what we do.
Yeah, but the data and the numbers are where the answers are.
Yeah.
Where the answers are not, as in our feelings, the answers are not there. That's probably indigestion or gas. Not really
Yep.
where the science should come from. So anyway, I'll get back to you in a minute. Today, two topics to discuss. First topic to discuss is bone, that I keep hearing about all the time. Have I got enough bone? Well, let's find out. And the second topic is the box. This box is the box that we produce for Surgical Reset. I think I briefly touched on it, but I'm going to go into it in much more detail. And inside this box is everything that is needed for the jaw reconstruction of a patient. And all the surgeon has to do is open the box, use everything in the box, following the instructions that are in the box, and we go from disease reality to health reality in a matter of a few hours, which for me, I couldn't do this over 18 months in 1999, but I can do this now in 2 to 3 hours, which is incredible. Both jaws, I'm talking full reconstruction, right? Not one, but we'll get to that in a minute. First one we're going to start with is the question we get asked almost every day. My dentist told me I haven't got enough bone. My question is always the same. For what? That's number one. Number two is, did they measure it? Number three is, do they know how to work with limited bone? Don't know. Right, well, we at 21D, we don't do guessing. We either have the answer or we don't have the answer. It's yes or no. It's not, that's not our world. So you work in this yes or no world.
Yes, I do.
So we don't have the word maybe here. We just have yes or no here. Is that good?
It's good. It gets some. You need some time to get used to it, but once you do understand the system, it just makes so much sense, and it's just easier to work, and it's better for everyone involved.
I don't understand how a clinician benefits from being vague. I don't understand how a patient benefits from the word maybe. You understand? It's yes or no. In my experience, patients prefer me to say, no, I can't fix it. Not it can't be fixed. I, with my skill set and my toys, cannot fix your problem. What they don't understand is I'm more annoyed with me than they are upset with them, because I'm annoyed that I haven't found a solution. Now, this is why I'm a nerd. This is why I keep looking for this solution all the time, because I know for the patient, it's a really big deal that they've come hoping for a solution, not treatment, a solution to all the problems. So treatment doesn't solve self-confidence. Treatment doesn't solve how they feel about themselves. Treatment is an event, and what solves it is the body believing, accepting, adapting to a new prosthetic reality, which takes time. That's the solution. The treatment is an event, but this is a therapy. It has a treatment event, and then it has an aftercare pathway, and then it has a lot of people needing to adapt to their new reality from their old reality. And on that point, I'm going to segue into bone. So when people reach out to us, we always ask them, do they have any x-rays at all from their dentist in the last 5 years? And the reason we ask for this x-ray is it gives us more detail. So people submit pictures, which are just looking at the roof tiles. We need to see what's happening in the bone. I mean, a lot of the time we can actually tell if the gum's receded a lot, there's probably a lot of underlying disease under there. If they've moved a lot, they'll only have moved because the bone isn't strong enough anymore because of active disease. We know all these things. But sometimes, if they've got an x-ray, that'd be great. And then they sometimes send us these little x-rays with like 1, 2 teeth on it. And what I actually want to see is the whole mouth like that. Because if we're talking about full mouth rehab, we're talking about what are all the structures that are going to hold the implants in future. So then we get this, probably happens, I'd say, about 5 times a week. I've been told that I can't have implants. Okay, where's the x-ray? Don't have an x-ray. They didn't take an x-ray. Okay, did your clinician that you saw have a big red S on their chest and a red cape? Because that guy's definitely got x-ray vision, doesn't need a CT scan, he can just look through you. No, he was not Superman. Right, okay, so that's a guess then.
Well, I met 3 people today.
Yes.
At free assessment. And
Right.
all of them been told that they don't have enough bone.
And what did we find?
I know 2 of them, yes, they can have
Enough. And the
Yes.
third one has gone into
Third
planning.
one is in
Is in
planning.
planning. Interesting.
Yeah.
The problem I have is, if you say that to someone, you destroy them. You just take away the hope. Oh my God, right, that's it. I'm a hopeless case. I can't be fixed. And as a human to another human, do I want to take away that hope? Do I want to take away that, right, well, this is it then for the rest of my life? Do I want to be responsible for that? Or do I need to be absolutely sure before I say that I am not dismissing something that probably needs a little bit more thinking, a little bit more analytics, a little bit more... I find this term really funny, thinking outside the box. And I always have a question when people say, you're thinking outside the box, Vijay. And I always go, whose box? Definitely not my box. I'm thinking inside my box. Whose box am I thinking outside of? And they go, oh. Well, you tell me whose box I'm thinking outside of, and I'll tell you
What my box is.
what my box is. You understand? And that is, it's not outside the box thinking. It's what can the science do? We have to follow the clinical rules of science. And when we're dealing with bone, we have to consider orthopedic principles like anchorage, like fixation, like plating. We have to think about all of it. It's not a magic screw. It doesn't just magically go in there and magically grip onto everything. It's orthopedics. This was created by an orthopedic surgeon. It wasn't created by a dentist. Dental implants were not created by a dentist. They were created by an orthopedic surgeon. So he used orthopedic principles. But it was 1962. And did they even have color TV back then?
No.
Right, so
Sure.
he had limitations, you know. But he still did it in 1962. And the guy kept his teeth, his implants and prosthetic rehabilitation till he died. The guy who had it done till he died, I think it was the late 90s. That's not bad. So he went from having a denture to having fixed prosthetics for the rest of his life. That's not bad for something that was done in 1962. If we think about, we didn't even have color TVs back then. That's pretty good. So then let's talk about bone. Here is a case. I'm going to stand up for this. Can you still hear me if I stand up? Yes. I need to draw on this. So let's draw some stuff, shall we? Here are the cheekbones, but there's more, right? Just cut off here. This is the top jaw. And this is the lower jaw. These circles here and here are the nerve. Those nerves come out of here and sort of enter the lip and go towards the midline, and they actually run through the lower jaw like that. Now, these nerves, we never want to hit them with an implant. It's not going to kill you, but your lip is going to go, whoop. It's not a good look. One of the main reasons for the use of surgical guides is so that you can engineer in the safety to stay the hell away from those. Because we are dealing with a living, moving human. I wish the skull would just walk in by itself. Then I could run it like, you know, there's people I give my keys to when I go shopping. Here's my head. Put some teeth on it. By the time I come back, I'm just going to pick up some chips or something. You know what I mean? I wish it was that simple. It isn't. So the guides avoid, these aren't vital structures. Now there is a vital structure here around the back. It's the lingual artery. So we never put an implant in the middle, ever, right? But we can do the following. So this would look like there's no bone. Well, no bone where, and where do we need bone? I need bone in front of these two, here and here. I need bone in front, in between these two, and I need to avoid the midline. But I also see that it's up, down, like that. Now, if that was my back garden, and you were a builder, and I said, build me a conservatory, what would you have to do?
Button it.
Level it.
Yep.
Correct. So we do. Like that. And then we go, okay, we would like 4 implants, definitely 3, because a tripod, not 2, definitely 3, ideally 4, if we can, with what we have left. So then we go 1, 2, 3, 4. And when we can do that, we can definitely get 12 teeth in. Right. Prosthetic teeth, but teeth nonetheless. Fixed. So we go from 6 to 12. The biggest problem for this patient will be the following. See these massive dips? Their tongue and their cheek has overgrown into that space, and the cheeks have fallen in. And you know, when I magically put that prosthetic on top, Vijay, I'm biting my tongue. Yes, but that's because your tongue is sitting where it's not supposed to sit, because somebody took these teeth out a long time ago and it just got free, and now it has to go back in. And any movement of the tongue will affect speech, because the tongue is the major muscle in the mouth for speech. So it'll be a bit funny to begin with, but it'll adapt. Just like it learned to adapt to speaking when the teeth came out, it'll learn to adapt to speaking when the teeth go back in, just not instantly. Muscle adaptation takes months and months and months, and there's no one in the world, maybe you can confirm this, can any clinician in the world predict how long those muscles are going to take to readapt?
No, absolutely not.
Correct. How long is it going to take, Vijay? I get my crystal ball out and I go, I don't know. Because no one can predict it. At the top here is, can you see it looks moth-eaten? This is actually much softer bone than this one here. This is going to be even trickier. Now, here's what was interesting about this particular case. They were told that cannot have a solution. Don't have enough bone. And it's to the naked eye without proper deep analytics, they are correct. But when we analyzed it, we found 4 sites at the front and 2 sites at the back in the pterygoid region, and we could make it work. And this patient went through what we call the 48-hour cycle. So we put the implants in, put the first prosthesis in, kept them with us for 2 days. Then we made the metal reinforced prosthetic, and 48 hours later, put that metal reinforced prosthetic in. There was an alternative plan that this patient was given. The alternative plan this patient was given was called zygomatic implants. Now, people need to understand what zygomatic implants are. I've done them a very long time ago. My issue with them, look, there are some great people who do incredible work with zygomatic implants. I was pretty good. I just don't like the idea of implants starting from about here, near the eyeball, going through all this bone and coming out in the palate around there somewhere, because that's what a zygomatic implant is. Most of this implant is going through the sinus, and the sinus is a great big air filter. And you probably have about 8 millimeters of bone anchored to on here, and about 2 millimeters of bone here. The implant itself is about 4 centimeters long, and most of it is doing nothing. And normally they do what's called a quad zygoma, so they put another one even further forward. Now this here, by the way, is the eyeball. I just don't like screws near the eyeball. It's just me. But there are some great clinical colleagues who can do some fantastic work. And I have to say, there's sometimes where only zygomatics will do, as it stands right now. Now that technology is evolving, and we've got hybrid subperiosteals coming in the future, and people are playing about with frames and all kinds of stuff. But the staple right now is to use zygomatics. I'm very happy about the fact that we avoid zygomatics. And if a patient needs zygomatics, my strong recommendation is they should see people who do zygomatics day in, day out, which is not us. Okay? So we don't use zygomatics, but we managed to find a solution for this patient. Deep analytics, lots of studying, hunting for every square millimeter of bone that we can find. Then there is the other thing, bone grafting. I did bone grafting from year 27 to about year 14, working backwards. Why? I had no choice. Had to do it. You know, the great sinus lifts. Yeah, it's basically putting a granular material, either your own harvested bone, which is now dead, put into a space, hoping it clots, hoping it reforms into bone. There are some really good bone grafting materials out there. It is volume dependent and it's load dependent. So it's for me anyway, I was never comfortable long term with having a full structure, a full jaw, not single teeth. Let's not confuse the two. So single tooth implants, a lot of the time you need volumetric buildup with bone grafting, but it's mainly non-functional, and it's mainly to improve the architecture so the new artificial tooth looks like the real teeth next to it, because that's really important. But for me, things like sinus grafting, block grafting, chunks from the jaw or the hip, plated in here and stitching it over and praying to God that it works. Yeah, it's nowhere near as predictable, plus it's multiple surgeries. I prefer to find a way where there is only one surgery for the patient. Who the hell wants to have surgery more than once? But if it's totally unavoidable, it's totally unavoidable. But it's in the incredibly low single digits, as are the zygomas, incredibly low. But it's really about analyzing in depth what they already have. Now, the great thing about this bone is it's living, it's attached to the host already, so it's part of this human being, and we are trying to leverage what little they have to achieve what we need it to achieve. So for me, if we have in this upper jaw, I'm even comfortable with 3 millimeters of width, because I know bone is elastic and it can be expanded. Even if I've only got 3 millimeters of width, and 8 millimeters of height across a 40 millimeter span, I can do something. It's a starting point. In the lower jaw is different to this one. So this one is designed more like an aero bar. So it's part of the actual skull itself. It's part of the top bit here. And it's very bubbly. Make it light, otherwise we don't really heavy heads. This one down here is more like this bone, my leg. Solid, right? Less bubbles, more cortical thick plate, like lamb shank. Nice and thick on the outside. The great thing about it is it has thick outer plates. So again, with this 4x8, because this bone doesn't expand as much as this bone. So in this bone, I need a little bit more width, 4 millimeters. Have I seen any that are not 4 millimeters wide? No. The main constraint is not the width for this one, it's the height. Now the smallest one I think I've ever seen was the width of this. Okay? It's not that we can't place implants in here, it's just breaking it when you're drilling is really high. How many have I seen in all this time? 3? That's not bad. That's not bad. But if I see things like this, I'm almost certain I can fix it. I just need to get it under analysis. I need to put it into planning. I need to see it in 3D because I need to find not just bone, I need to find the best bone. So we're studying it by the millimeter, slice, step. Oh, that one. Oh, that one. There, here. Then does it fit in with the macro architecture, blah, blah, blah. So you have to understand that no bone, there's a test for no bone. You just take your hands, you put it on the side of your head and you squeeze it. And if it collapses like a stress ball, you have no bone. But if you can't squeeze your head, you've got bone. It's a simple test. We just need to find it. That's all, right? So if we just play the video and run the video, you can actually see for this patient that it's quite broken down. And if you see the curved architecture, it's because this person was wearing a denture. And every time they bit, these lower teeth were hitting the back of the denture like that and rocking. That rocking actually damages the underlying gum and bone. So the first reaction of the gum and the bone is to try and shrink away from it so it doesn't damage it as much. And it just keeps going. And then what the patient does, which I totally understand, they go, oh, my dentures are loose. So then they get another set of dentures, which is closer again. And then that cycle begins. So then now they've gone through 8 sets of dentures and nothing stays in now because there's nothing left. And then they go, yeah, I've got no bone. And then they come and see us. And then we have to have a look. So this is probably the most common thing. How many people do we actually see like this? Less than 10%. It's shocking to me that we see people with probably 50% more bone than this, at least, and they've been told they have no bone. I'm like, I could throw these from the other end of the room and get them in. But again, you have to use things like cone beam CT scan. Planning software is really good. I know it's not standard practice, but for us here at 21D, there is no 21D without planning software and analytics and stuff like this. Just no. Guessing, not in here. And then here's another one. This is a good one because this one, we can see from this one that the teeth are sort of splayed like this. Mm-hmm. That's called complete bite collapse. I mean, we see pretty much everybody we see has got a bite collapse, correct? Have you ever seen anybody without a bite collapse in here yet?
Not yet.
Right. Whether it's a millimeter or 2 millimeters or 5 millimeters, it's still not ideal. The reason that this is important is this joint here. This is your jaw joint. So when your bite collapses, your lower jaw can travel up further than it should. So it's sort of like overstretching the joint. So trying to re-establish the correct vertical dimension is actually really important for the long-term health of that joint over there. Plus, if you increase the dimensions of the lower third of the face, so a lot of people comment on my photographs, the ones befores and afters of patients, and go, oh my God, they look like they've had a facelift. Nope, we've just increased the bite. But before everybody goes crazy and walks in here tomorrow and says, increase it by a foot. Yeah, we're lucky if we can increase it by 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters. But when we can, and we do, it makes such an incredible difference to facial muscle support. So this person, those teeth are at that axis. If I can, just pause it. I mean, this is what's incredible about this one, right? This person here, those teeth used to be far more upright like this. But then they ended up in the long axis like that. But as they tilted forward, the lip also got pushed out. Here's the commonest complaint I've heard from patients when I raise their bite and put the tooth back to the correct long axis of the skull. So if you see this long axis, it's in the correct long axis of the skull. Oh, I've lost my lip. And I go, nope, it's still there, I can see it. What they mean is they feel like they've lost lip support, but the lip support they had was a false lip support caused by the drifting of the teeth gradually over years. But that lip muscle suddenly has this incorrect position corrected, and it's like, oh, everything's gone. I've got no lips. You have. You never took your lips away. Just took the rubbish teeth away, all the disease in the jawbone. But your lips are still there. Then what happens is the muscles, this muscle is a round muscle, it learns to adapt to the new harmonious position. So what happened here was, if you look at it from below upwards, they ended up like that. And what we did was make it that. So we've improved the smile width and reduced the smile protrusion, but we've gone sideways a little bit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So then the lips and the cheeks have to readapt to the new thing. I'm going to say it again. Muscle adaptation, months and months and months and months, and we do not touch your muscles. That is your body's job to rehabilitate, and it's not now. Our job is to get all this disease out of the jawbone, all of it, get implants into that jaw, fix a prosthetic on top in the right position, and then your body has to do the rest. It has to heal, it has to recalibrate, it has to adapt, the muscles have to reform. Your daughter's thing about speech.
Yep.
Well, speech is directly controlled by the big tongue on the inside and the lips on the outside. Now, if they are suddenly moved, well, I'm going to be speaking a bit funny, I'm going to be lisping. Yeah, all right. But not forever.
Yeah.
I don't know any patient at all that I've had in all this time that 2 years later is lisping. And if you're not patient enough to work with your own body, don't start this treatment. I can't predict it. No one on earth can predict it. I can only calculate where it all should have been in the first place and put it back there. Your body has to do the rest, and you have to do the rest to readapt. It's a bit like having a hip replacement done and go, I can't run 3 days after I had it. I'd be surprised if you could run 3 years after you had it, let alone 3 days after you had it. It's prosthetics. It's muscle limitations. So that is bone. Now let's talk about how we get our implants that we plan into someone's mouth. So we have the box. And inside the box, so they're all in sterile pouches. Okay, this is an active case. So everything in there is sterilized already. We have the prosthetics. So we have the titanium subframe. We have the veneer. We have these things, my favorite things. These are called, can you see this? Are you zooming in? These are called asymmetric anatomical guides. These are as unique as your fingerprint and will only fit you. So you cannot leave this in your will to your future because it's of no use to anybody but you. All designed so we can deliver the implants exactly to where we planned them. It's a concept called screen to mouth 1-to-1. We need to be as close to where we planned it as possible, and ideally exactly where we planned it. I'm very pleased with the fact that we are the only people in the world, as far as I am aware, caveat that, I've checked, but as far as I'm aware, we are the only people in the world that can deliver the titanium bar to the implants immediately after surgery. And then I hear you shout, What if the gum shrinks? A, it will. You've looked at their clinical health
Yes, I have.
at surgical sign-off.
Yes, I have.
Compared to when you saw them at clinical assessment, if 100 is the state of oral disease when they came in, what is it when you see them 4 weeks after surgery?
There's no disease. Simply.
Really,
Simply put.
zero? Zero. Gone.
Yeah.
Okay. As a clinician who's not that asked about what color the perm is, from a clinical point of view, how important is it to establish a zero disease environment, or as close to zero as possible?
It's absolutely vital.
If it's not, and we're focusing on all the other things that are irrelevant, what will happen to those implants? Definitely.
Well, we'll be taking them out in a few months, years. You just won't have what you need.
Yeah, not here. So in order, the purpose of what we do, as you see for these poor folk here, we eliminate disease and we stabilize function. And if I was to draw a pie chart, elimination of disease and stabilization of function is 99% of that pie chart. 1% of that pie chart is my gum color. Which gum color? Your own or the artificial one? Yeah, I don't care. Because I'm a clinician. We are clinicians here. We are here to eliminate disease and stabilize function. At no point did we ever say we're cosmetic anything. I went to see my cosmetic barber 2 weeks ago, and she said she's just a barber. I was confused. Immediately, I thought, oh my God, you're not a cosmetic barber. What are you doing to me? She said, giving you a haircut like I have been for the last 9 years. So she's not a cosmetic barber. I am not a cosmetic dentist. I'm an oral rehab clinician, right? And for me, as a clinician, no disease, it works. Everything else, it either looks like it belongs on your face to what I know is clinically correct, or it doesn't. And once my clinical parameters are met, oh, I don't like this. Yeah, I don't care. Because any disruption at all will damage long-term mechanics. So it's a bit like going to my car dealer and saying, listen, I've got 4 wheels on my car. I want you to bolt on another 2 just in case I have a puncture. Now, there's ones who'll say yes. But if 21D ran a car business, it would be, go away. No. Sorry, it's not a discussion. You either accept the analytics we do where we are quantifying the optimal balance of compromises for long-term performance, so we are absolutely minimizing the risk of ever doing this again, and every single thing is a clinical parameter. So I'll give you an example. Pink on the outside, white on the inside for the prosthetics. Well, the pink on the outside is an additional layer painted on. Every additional layer increases bacterial accumulation in the mouth. No, I need it to be as healthy as possible. So you all a lot of you came to me with a mouth full of crowns. Oh, I went to Turkey and I had this done. I ended up taking them all out after 7 years. We're not doing that with our work. So everything is a clinical parameter, and we show you that in the beginning. We discuss it all, and you've got 2 choices: agree with us or go and get your requests done somewhere else. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to let patients do things that we know is not good for them. You can argue as much as you want, but clinical rules are clinical rules, and we're not changing. I think the distortion is, I feel bad for patients. They've all been sold the dream. Anything's possible. No, it isn't. All that is possible is all your anatomy will allow. And there is only one position that is the optimal balance of all compromises. There aren't 20 choices. But your head, your money. 21D has one plan, non-negotiable. There are plenty of other providers. Go to them. It's fine. For us, it's really important that when we see you again 30 years from now, having seen you every 12 months, the stuff we put in 30 years earlier is exactly where we left it. No active disease, healthy mouth, no disease entering the bloodstream, no active periodontal disease like we had at the beginning. I always find it astonishing, and I think I understand why people blank out what they came in with. Oh, and I literally put the picture up from like 8 weeks earlier and go, that's what you came in with? And they go, oh my God, that's terrible. Yes. Can you take it off the screen? No. Because I need you to contextualize everything against that. Not some old rubbish you saw on Instagram. Because you didn't have the same face as that person, but you're expecting the same outcome as that person. No. It's anatomically designed, which means that is for your head, your face, where you're at in your physiology at this particular moment in life. It's not going to make you 21. Have those made you 21?
No.
No. But
51? Yeah.
much better than the denture. Any going back for you?
No, never.
Right, okay. How long now?
How long? A year.
A year now.
Exactly.
Do you even remember 2 years ago?
Huh.
I know you remember the daily routine.
Yeah.
You keep talking to me about it, how you run off into the bathroom, close the door, and then do your little deconstruction piece.
Yeah. Well, it's...
When was the last time you went out for a meal and you even gave a shit about what was on the menu?
Yeah, well, this Sunday. I
just
don't-
went that,
I
that,
just
and
eat. Yeah, I just eat. Now I eat everything. So even nuts.
Even nuts. Somebody posted that on the Facebook group. You know, they said, "Can I have dry roasted peanuts?" And the first thought in my head when I read that was, my life wouldn't be worth living if I couldn't eat dry roasted peanuts.
No, yeah.
You know what's funny?
What?
This week we had someone who came to us and said for the annual maintenance, and she just told us like, I eat peanuts every day. I miss that so much, and now I do it every day. Like I don't
Yeah,
like
but
it.
you're
I've gained
supposed to.
weight. I've gained some weight. It's because of you.
I'm going to get the blame for this.
Yeah.
See, I get the blame for
Again.
this. Again. So you have to understand that this is how it is, and that rehabilitation process is a mixture of excitement, anxiety. I feel good, I feel bad. Everyone. I feel bad for everybody that we have to put them through the surgical reset phase. If there was a way of magically doing this, you know, if I could get like a pointy hat and like a wand and just go, I'd do that. Can't. Got to cut the crap out. Got to do it. That's actually the job. You know this. You've seen. The main part of the job isn't putting the implants in. The main part of the job is cleaning all the rubbish out and making sure everything's gone. That's what takes us the time. And we end up spending more time when there's more rubbish, and that elevates things. So then the patient has more swelling, of course, because I've removed more. I've caused more trauma, but it's a planned trauma. And not everybody's the same. Sometimes we find patients where everything looks fine in here, but up there are like these bags of pus everywhere in the jawbone, in it. Yeah, we can't stick implants into that. We need to clean all that out. And to clean it out, oh, I mean, surgery is surgery, right? It's what I do. It's what we do for a living. But there are certain things which are a real pain in the ass. And one of them is removing those bags of pus. You can do it. It's just annoying. It's like, what the hell is this thing doing here? And then it's sort of like tunneling somewhere, and you have to go chasing after it and clean it all out. Yeah. But you have to get it out because it's like a sleeper cell.
Exactly.
You'll just sit there and wait until you bugger off. If you haven't cleaned it all out, it'll just come back out. That's the work. That's the real thing for the surgeons. It's the implants. Putting the implants in 5 minutes. If we have a clean base. It's getting to the clean base that takes the time. So understand that these boxes are the solution in a box. And this is what we do here. And our implants are in here. Our prosthetics are in here. Our guides are in here. Everything's sterilized in that box. And this is for a real patient. This is going to change someone's life. That is fantastic for me. Disease load inside the mouth, as you said, 100 to 0, like that. Okay, let's not nitpick. 100 to 5. The body will do the rest.
Absolutely.
because now the bacterial balance is in the favor of the body. So now the antibodies haven't got an army to fight with. It's some oiks here and there. It'll deal with it. Great. And the health reset in patients. How many of them have said to you, when you see them for sign-off, go, I feel a lot better in myself?
So many. Most of them.
Tell us
And
what they say.
It's something I haven't met before in my life. So there are so many patients who are so grateful. They hug you. They write you messages.
Weird, right?
Yes, it's weird.
But nice.
Yes, it's so nice.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's just,
Every dentist, in my view, should experience that
I hope they will
daily.
do. I
You know,
hope,
if we all experience that every single day, I think we'd be a happier bunch. You've met some of them.
Yeah.
They're
yeah.
miserable.
they make your
They just
week,
need a
you know.
hug.
They just make your week. So when someone gives you a hug and just
But you can
tells
feel it, right? You
Exactly,
can feel
yes.
the difference it's made to their life. They even struggle to articulate it, but with the hug, you can
Just-
feel that.
Yeah. I can personally, after surgery, I kind of suffered from sinus pain for maybe 10 years. All gone after surgery. So I don't have any problems with sinuses anymore. But when you think about it's all here, infection, sinuses starts here, and it's all there.
It's funny, right? A lot of them. So I have friends of mine who are ENT surgeons. A lot of them, when I clear it out, so they'll have patients with all kinds of conditions. When I clear it out, they go, hey, person's symptoms have gone.
Yeah.
And it's been cross-infecting for so long.
Yeah.
So we don't know where the infection started. We don't know whether it started in the sinus and drifted down to the teeth, which is rarer. But more often than not, it's infections in the teeth that go into the sinus, creates this channel, and then they just keep cross-infecting each other forever.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing you have to do is take one of them away. You can't take the sinuses away. You need the bloody sinuses. But the tooth that's dead, like deader than dead, just happily cross-infecting back and forth.
Yeah.
You plug it out, the crap drains out. I'm breathing better. The best one I hear is, thank you for saving my marriage. What? Yeah, I had to sleep in the other room because I snored like a bear. Now she'll let me back in the room. It's always a good That's always a good one to hear, that
Yeah,
one. I'm like,
Definitely.
anytime, fella. No worries. I'm
Definitely.
glad you're happy.
Definitely. Can I just ask you something?
Sure.
I have a question about there are different opinions out there, not in our group, but I keep reading on different
Opinions,
things
did you say
about
opinions?
yeah
You know
about
how I
the
feel about opinions. But go on, ask me the opinion. Anyway.
about the actual implants, branded implants versus non-branded, and their
Branded versus
role
non-branded.
in longevity of the solution. What would you say about
Branded
that? I
implants.
mean, branded
with
like
Chanel, Dolce & Gabbana. Which one?
Well,
What?
the other ones are like
Hermes.
YSL.
YSL.
Yeah.
Coco. Well, okay.
Branded like you
Okay,
have
okay.
branded marks.
So
whatever.
look, there are hundreds of implant companies in the world, and there are, I think, 1, 2, 3. Well, I can name definitely the 3 biggest ones. Number 1, I think, is called Straumann. Number 2 is Novobica. Number 3 is Zimmer, I think. Okay. How do they stay number 1? Theirs is the best. How are they the best? So I could have the best implant in the world from the best brand, and I could put it in badly. You understand? So I know something. All of these implants, all these brands, they all fail. They can fail. Longevity, it's not the implant. It's how it's deployed, where it's deployed, what is the health of the host. So let's look at it another way. Let's look at what these implants are made out of. The vast majority of implants, I'd say 99+% of implants that are used are all made of medical grade titanium. And there are 2 main types. Titanium grade 4, which is what I use, or as defined as pure titanium, which means no alloys in it. And then titanium grade 5, Ti 6Al, 6 aluminium, 4 vanadium. Okay? This alloyed version theoretically has greater insertion strength, but it has the downside that it has aluminium and vanadium in it. Now, we know that there is a strange affinity for a bone cell to titanium oxide. It's weird. We don't even understand osseointegration, but for some weird reason, our body likes a roughened titanium oxide surface. I like pure mainly because I just like the word pure, right? Pure means pure. That is titanium oxide. There's nothing else on it. Great. I have used titanium grade 5. Clinical performance is so much more than the implant. If I put a perfectly good implant into an infected socket, it doesn't matter if it's made by Jesus.
Yeah.
It's going to fail.
Absolutely.
Do you understand? The brand conversation, but you have to understand it's part of, and I don't blame them for it, I sort of understand. It's manufacturer driven. They have key opinion leaders. They sponsor studies at universities. You're not going to say something bad when the university is just, the company has just paid $1 million for you to research their implant. And I think Straumann are a really good brand. Whether they are better, it's not, how are you measuring better? Do you understand? It's just a very vague and non-branded. No, okay. So the things I look for on an implant is CE or MDR, which is the latest regulation for Europe, which means it's legal and for use and tested for use in a human, or FDA, Food and Drug Administration. Of course, you've got the Chinese CFDA, but these are regulated bodies that certify that these materials are good for class 1 and class 3 implantation. The other variable is the quality of the surface.
Yeah.
So it's not really whether it's made by Dolce & Gabbana or Chanel. It's more to do with what is the grade of implant? What is the surface treatment? Is it really that much better or worse or whatever? But most important variable of all, the host. Don't put it into infected bone. Make sure the person has a baseline of health that can actually work with the implant. These are far more important things.
Yep.
Go on then, more of your questions. I know you've got loads.
Not this time, but somebody said it has been planned for me to have pterygoid implants.
Yes.
But they won't be used. Is this due to possible implant failure?
Nope.
Am I likely to have failure?
It's contingency. So sometimes what we do, I can do it on here. Right, great, stop it, perfect. So let me see whether I can get this a bit better. Let's get rid of that. Let's allow it to keep going. I'll show you where the pterygoids are. Can I get a bit more? Okay, there. Right. So this area here is the pterygoid area. Okay, it's actually behind where the wisdom tooth would be, and the implant sort of goes from the outside in to that area at that angle, and it has a corrective head that straightens it out like this. Now, I've been using pterygoid since 2007. When somebody has softer bone at the front, we think about, and softer, it's not subjective. So we have something called Hounsfield units. So Hounsfield units are the measurements that we use in radiology for the measurement of the density of the bone. So when they have consistently Hounsfield units between 100 and 400, which is quite soft. So for me, the breakdown of bone is styrofoam, MDF, what's the other one? Styrofoam, MDF, wood, let's say, I don't know, something stronger, and oak, right? We like oak. So that has oak up there somewhere. So we put these pterygoids in, and only if we ever have problems in future with the ones we have up front, we connect it. That's generally if we are thinking that their bone density at the front is between 200 and 400, which we've measured, and we'd like this added contingency. They're doing you no harm. And they are a million miles away, but they do give us what we call posterior anchorage. Posterior anchorage is good as contingency for people who present with quite a broken down situation with quite soft bone. This is classic for people as they get older, because we lose bone density as we get older. But in a lot of cases, we don't need them, because we normally get decent distribution of 3 or 4. And remember, we're introducing the titanium bar immediately after surgery. We can do that here. So we don't need to use them. But if we think it's a good idea for you to have a pterygoid, we're not charging you any more for it. It's just part of your process. It's an extra 10 minutes during your surgery. It makes no difference to you at the moment. It makes no difference to your healing. So yeah, the contingency, it's not because we think your implants are going to fail. It's a contingency so that if ever you have any issues in future, we've always got these two at the back, and we only need one more at the front, and bang, we're back to fixed teeth. So it's contingency planning purely.
Yeah. Next question, Vijay. My wife went yesterday for a 4-week sign-off.
Yes.
They replaced her teeth, and the new ones only have pink gum line in the front. The ones fitted on the surgery day had pink inside and outside. Why is this?
Because they're two different biomaterials.
I think you already answered before about the...
I did, but I'm going to talk about it again because, okay, so I transmitted a certain thing to my clinicians to explain to the patients. I'm not blaming anybody. I take the blame because I should have done it myself. Sometimes when we're planning these cases, we've got two parts. One is the titanium bar itself that is attached to your implants. That has not moved. That is where we put it. That bar is there to stabilize your implants, and that plate is the foundation for your veneer, the bit that goes on top. There are an array of materials. Some can be used short-term for our clinical benefit to help improve the rate of healing. So I want quicker healing. So if I can put something a little bit more rigid, but actually it's more brittle if I use it long-term to help in that early phase of healing, I will. If I can use something softer that will dampen the shock to the bone, I will. But always, whichever one of these materials I use, we will always switch it to LTP, and it's always been PMMA. Okay? But we never use just PMMA here. We use titanium subframe, PMMA superstructure. So somebody went for an assessment somewhere else and they said 21D uses PMMA. Yeah, for the veneer. Never for the whole structure, ever long-term. It never happens. It's titanium PMMA. And the reason that when we 3D print it, we 3D print it as a monoblock. It's a different characteristic of material specifically for the surgical phase, okay? That is what got poorly transmitted. It created a whole load of confusion, and somebody actually said to you that I was experimenting. I wasn't experimenting on anybody. Everything you have is certified and is biomaterial grade. There's no experimenting here. I didn't make a mistake. I always knew I was going to get you here. It just wasn't transmitted correctly. When you have PMMA, you actually paint the pink on. It doesn't get made as pink and white in one go. It gets a disc. It's one color, the tooth color that you pick, and then we paint the pink. When you paint the pink, you increase the surface area for bacterial accumulation, which is why from the 18th of May 2022, and actually from 2012, when I first started using titanium PMMA, not a single patient has ever had pink painted on the inside, and never will, because it all increases the surface area for bacterial accumulation, and we're not doing that. So I hope this helps clear it up.
Yeah.
It should have been transmitted better to you, and as the CEO, I take responsibility for that, but I did tell everybody to tell the patients, but clearly it wasn't done.
Thank you, Vijay. Prosthetics printed versus milled.
There's no debate. It's right now milled. Printed is good for short-term use to help us through the surgical phase. printed is good to help us through the surgical phase, but it's very sparingly used because most people, with what they present with and the bone densities they have, we go straight to milled.
Okay.
Like these in here, they are milled. So you can see that this patient who's going to receive this, I don't know, can you zoom in on this? They have the pink on the front. Can you see that? Yeah. But can you see that the insides are white? Yeah, they always will be. That is a 21D thing, and it's been a 21D thing from day one, and it's never going to change.
This lady asked, I had an MRI recent and one incidentally found to have what they think is a 9mm microadenoma in my pituitary gland. Would this have any impact on me being able to have procedure?
No. Provided that is addressed and whoever is the physician says that it is still okay to go ahead with implants. And the easiest way is if they don't understand dental implants, you can ask a simple question. Would I be able to have a hip replacement?
Right.
And if they say yes, you can have a hip replacement, then you can have implants done in your mouth. But it's really important that this has been identified. So there will be an analysis by a consultant. And then at that consultation, even if it's with your GP, just a simple question. Would this affect me having a hip replacement? Because there's no difference for me to having implants in the mouth and having a hip replacement. The same medical criteria apply. So doctors generally don't understand dental implants, do they?
No, they don't.
But they all understand hip replacements. So say hip replacements.
The next question is about staining.
Yes. Everything stains. How much is the variable? Well, that depends on a few things. Number one, how dry is your mouth? I've said this a million times. I'm going to say it again. When you are in a prosthetic state, you should sip water if you want the best anti-staining performance. Number two, never, ever, ever, ever use abrasive toothpaste, whitening toothpaste, all that junk that's marketed, right? Never, ever, because if you scratch that surface, it will stain. Number three, even with the best will in the world, if you like your curries and your cups of teas and your cups of coffee and your mouth dries out, you are going to get mainly what's called interproximal staining, which is very fine staining right in between the teeth. Annual maintenance, we will blast it off. But it's not a flaw of manufacturing or the material. The materials are exactly the same. They come in discs. They're certified materials. But I can't account for whether it stains for one person or the next. But there is no such thing. Have you ever seen a non-staining prosthetic in your life?
No.
Does it exist?
No.
Right. So where does this bullshit come from that you can have things that do not stain when you're shoveling all kinds of staining agents into your mouth 24 hours a day?
I think people have bad sources of information, mainly.
You mean Instacrap?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Well, there's also TikTok, so I'm not going to differentiate, but the main idea
There's
that
another one called Insta Shit. Which one is it? Is it Instacrap or Insta Shit? Which one?
one of those.
Okay, I understand. Look, this is for us a really, really important point, right? I see all these groups on Facebooks with some snapshot of, look at them. Well, you should see them in my lab. They're all gleaming. Beautiful. You know, the minute it goes in your mouth. You like your red wine, Gordon, do you?
Yeah.
Why don't you just live on bread and water till the day you die and we never have to have a conversation about staining ever again? What is wrong with you, man?
I've never had actually a problem with staining. I just follow the recommendations. That's it. I don't.
I can promise you the staining on your prosthetics. You probably just don't give a shit. Would that be accurate? Yeah, okay. You're just glad you got fixed teeth, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
If the LTP breaks, how quickly can it be fixed?
Which bit? Which
Veneer.
bit of the LTP? The veneer. So we already have your file, right? And then we can just machine another one. So our bioengineering is in the northwest of England. Let's say you're a patient of ours in, what's the furthest away we've got? Colchester. Let's say you're in Colchester.
Yeah.
Probably 48 hours it will be with you. But the first thing I'll want is a photograph and to understand how it broke. Because it's not replacing it, it's understanding why it broke. Because we don't let it leave our bioengineering unless it goes through the analytical tests of integrity. So best thing is tell us straight. Why did it break? So some people go, oh, I was just standing in the garden with my mouth open catching flies and it just, yeah, that never happened. So we need to understand it. But in our experience, especially with the S1 prosthetic, they're incredibly stable. I think last year, out of 4,000 prosthetics, we had 28 fractures. I mean, you're a dentist, right?
Yes.
How many dentists do you know that do 4,000 fillings and have 28 break in a year?
0.
How many would they have break?
Oh, I'd say 3, 4, 5%.
Tell me this. How many unbreakable materials exist in dentistry?
0.
So where does this horseshit come from that you've got unbreakable?
Same place as before.
Oh, right, okay. Insta-shit or insta-crap?
Yes.
Right, okay. Is that it?
I don't know.
One more. Here we go.
Specific question.
Specific question. I like specifics.
I'm booked for surgery on 22nd of April,
Right.
but also I have a surgery on my left sinus on 25th of March, so it's like a month between. Do you think I would be ready for the 22nd of April after I had surgery on 22nd?
Best way to check, ask your ENT surgeon like now. Me personally, I would want this to resolve fully before I deal with the other one. Look, to have your body do multiple healings at the same time, why? We're not going anywhere. We're not a caravan, are we? There's no wheels on this building.
No.
Right, okay. We're not going anywhere. If it was me, honestly, I'd probably ring up and go, listen, I want to feel fit as a fiddle by the time I come to you. But before you do that, speak to your ENT people and say, how long do you think sensible recovery is? And if they say 8 weeks, move it to 8 weeks. We'll still be here. Don't worry. I get it. I want your body to recover from one thing at a time, not 3 things at the same time. Would you do a quadruple heart bypass and a hip replacement and a new knee? Probably not.
No.
Right. So I know it's better because then you can get all your shopping done in one go, but that's not how the body works. We need to remember surgery has limitations, and one of them is how much are we asking the body to do at once. So my view, pretty pleased with sugar on it. Ask the ENT guy sensibly, how long should I have my recovery before? Because they're the experts in what they do. I'm not an ENT expert. I would really ask them that question. And if they say it's 8 weeks, then just do the maths and go, right, well, you're 4 weeks later. Move it by 4 weeks. We'll find a slot for you. We'll try and make it work for you. But let's not push it, shall we?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Are we done?
That's all.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victor. Thanks for joining us. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. See you
Thank you, Vijay.
2 weeks' time.
Thank you, Victor.
Bye.
Bye-bye.